This video was requested by Neil for Salil Rumi. Hi everybody, Joshua here with the Heavy Piano YouTube channel. Today's video will be a tutorial on Everything Means Nothing to Me by Elliott Smith. I encourage you to check out my version, just so you have an idea of where I'm coming from for some of my ideas for chords and melody. There's a lot in here, there's a lot of changes, chord changes, so I'll just try to talk as I go through it and explain what I'm thinking about. I usually like to give a foundation, like as far as chords and melody, and then I want you to take the information I'm giving you, and make it your own at home, because I think that's what, if I can give you anything, it's kind of the joy of discovering music and someone else's music that has resonated so deeply with you, and then taking it and kind of making it your own and trying to take the emotion and the energy of it to recreate that for yourself, if that makes any sense. Long-winded way of saying I'm going to talk about this in terms of chords and melody. I will link there's some decent sheet music online. It doesn't quite capture it perfectly, but it's a good place to start from. So I'll go ahead and link some of that online as well. Or I'll link it below in the description. So getting right into the beginning, we have this cool little line that we hear twice, this little lick. I like to think of that as like a G flat diminished chord resolving to an open F chord. It's an open F chord because there's no third defining if it's major or minor, right? So coming out of that, we have G flat, A natural, C, E flat, right? And our top note is that G flat. So we're taking the first two notes here, G flat, E flat, and then open F, C and F, B flat, A natural, G flat, and then walking down E flat, D flat, C, F, G flat, D flat, C, and F. So that would be really helpful to have sheet music. So look for that sheet music link below to kind of explain that one out. But again, think of it as like a G flat diminished to F. So after you play the first few notes, and sometimes I kind of like to let that F hang out and the C hang out, so we do get that chord together at the very end after that lick. Okay, so what's really interesting is coming out of G flat to F, now we have G sharp major, or A flat major, but I'm gonna go ahead and talk in terms of G sharp. So we have our first chord, G sharp major, and then C sharp minor over G sharp, A major to B major, A major, G sharp major again, kind of odd with that D natural in there in the melody, F sharp minor, and then here's our F sharp diminished, or the G flat diminished, like if you want to think of it in terms of the intro. Let me play that much again. Try to pay attention to what I'm doing in the melody as well. Okay, so we definitely want to resolve. So notice our chord here, that G flat diminished or F sharp diminished, I'm going to resolve to F. Kind of like the introduction, right? Cool, really cool what Elliott did there. So now we have F major, B flat minor. So we have B flat minor, middle note's going to move down one to A natural, which is going to lead us to D flat over F. What do you want to call that? G minor flat 5 over F. Basically F, G natural, D flat, B flat. Let me play that much again, starting with the F chord. Those chords in left hand, let me play those. F major, we have our B flat minor, descending middle note to A natural, There's our D flat over F. And then our, whatever you want to call that chord, G, G minor flat 5 over F, if you want to call it that. Play it with everything. I really like that. There's some cool voice leading there going on. So, and then we have this line, this ascending line that starts on B flat, going over G flat. So now we switched here. Just a G flat triad, and we're gonna walk up from B flat. We're gonna do this 3 times, but after the first 3 notes, then I'm gonna add a triad of thirds. So. Third time we do this little pattern, I'm going to switch the bass note in my left hand to a D flat. And then here, I'm going to have that little lick, but this time it's going to be over F. So the very first time we didn't have a chord defining anything, we more had an outline of that G flat diminished, but now we have it over F chord in the left hand. So let's go from that G flat major little ascending scale thing. Switch the bass. Again, I like to hang out on those notes there so they kind of ring. It's a nicer effect on the acoustic that I have downstairs. Let me talk about the fingering for that G, the little lick, the ascending lick starts on B flat there. I'm playing the 2, thumb crosses over, and then I have the 2 again, then I have thumb and third, and then I'm actually jumping up to thumb. Let's see, what am I doing there? Okay, and then I'm jumping over here, and that way, see how my hand kind of fits this group of black notes here? So I have this group, which is just following my fingers. Thumb and 3, 2 and 4, 3 and 5. So what I'm doing is preparing myself to get into that position. And now that I'm doing it without thinking about it, I see that I'm actually doing thumb and 2, pointer finger. And then when I'm playing that little lick, I'm trying to make it fit my hand. Your hand may be a little bit different, but I'm playing it pinky 3 and then thumb and pinky together, kind of crossing over with my 2 in my left hand. Maybe sliding down the 2 to the F from the G flat to the F. You'll have to experiment and see what works best with your hands. I have long fingers and kind of a big reach. Yeah, I do. I switch over from the 2, the G flat to F. Okay, coming out of that, again, like I said, I'm going to be kind of like talking through these chords and fingering, and there's a lot to unpack here. So go ahead and pause and grab whatever you like and don't like and throw things away. So let me go back in. So now we're back into, after our little lick, we're going to come back into kind of what we played before for the next verse. So instead of this time just like outlining, just playing like block chords, we're going to have like a root note, and then a chord up here. So we'll have like the chords are kind of the same, but we're going to be outlining them like that. So melody, again, will be in the right hand. So start with G sharp major, C sharp minor, to A, to B, A, G sharp major, F sharp minor. Here's our F sharp diminished. Let me do that much again. I'll just play it real slowly with the chords up here. So then we change keys to F major, F chord. There's our B minor. Remember that middle note goes down. We have D flat over F. and that weird G minor is the flat 5 over F. It's got that crush, the F and the G next to each other. Play that much again, more slowly. Okay, so then from here on out, we have the ascending line, right? And it builds and builds and builds. And actually, I'm gonna go ahead and show this on screen too. If you look at the wave file, I have just a CD rip, and I'll load it up into Cubase here. And if you look, at the beginning, it's fairly quiet, but this ending is just smashed. It's like absolutely as loud as it can get over here. So the amplitude or the volume level it's like really loud. So one of the things I wanted to do in my version was try to recreate that. You'll notice I have on my acoustic, I have the soft pedal down for everything before this point, and actually up until this point until I really get it big. So I still have the soft pedal down. So I have the ascending line that we talked about before over G flat. Keep the line the same. We're going to change our chord in the left hand to E flat minor. Back to G flat. Now I'm making it a big chord. My hand is big. I got that 10th reach there. You could just do octaves, or you could just do a triad. But I'm going to go ahead and play. That's another thing too, I forgot to mention. Sometimes I kind of just ever so slightly roll my left hand. So it's not all the notes are hitting at the exact same time. I don't know exactly why I'm doing that. If I had to, I think it's just creating a little bit of movement and a little bit of energy for me. That's the way it felt. So let me start this again. We're coming out of that last verse into this last chorus that's going to build and get huge. Over G flat. Over E flat. G flat again. So I got louder on the keyboard, and actually just by adding more notes, by the virtue of adding more notes, you're creating more volume. We're gonna go to E flat again. I'm going lower. So here's where you start to get this D flat, A flat, G flat cycle. And then on my acoustic at this point, this is when I've taken the soft pedal off, I've given the hammers their full hit. So I'm adding another layer of like volume and a dimension to the sound where I can get a little bit bigger. And I'm really adding more chords. So my chords are gonna be G flat, D flat, A flat. It's just gonna repeat that cycle until it ends on G flat. So what I'm thinking about when I was improvising this, I want to have this line feeling like it's continuing to go up. So we have this ascending line going throughout, but I want to make it big so I can add some octaves. One of the things I did is I took the pattern of my hand and put it either on, starting on the F natural and kind of like rolling through notes there, or on C, D flat, E flat, F, and then among that, the diatonic scale of G flat major, right? So let's see, coming into that. Making big hits on the chords themselves there to really emphasize those hits. Kind of taking the triad there, left hand kind of like just kind of rotate your wrist, make it big. It's kind of like these like drum beats, these rounds you want to create, or I wanted to create like this energy. Let's see here. Anytime you have more emphasis in your octaves and big chords, like really filling stuff out. So I'm just creating motion and movement. So whatever you can do among those chords, the G flat, D flat, A flat, G flat. So at least that's the way I felt it and the way I wanted to recreate what Elliott had done on his version. So going through that, I think the big notes to land on: F over the D flat, these are all the thirds, C over the A flat, B flat over the G. So whatever you're doing motion-wise and creating energy, so that's kind of some of the things I'm doing to make it bigger and push and like really have it build. So then coming out of that, excuse me. And it's just chords, Sorry, my keyboard did something odd there. But really just letting it come back. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about when I was like, I really wanted to somehow create that big build at the end, just lots of octaves or chords, and then emphasizing, landing on those, kind of like the way I heard it. I heard those chords really coming out, and then trying to create this continued energy of the ascending line we've heard before a couple times. We had the intro, we had the verse, and then we had like a little mini chorus in the intro and verse again. And then we have this big chorus that builds to the end. So just having that all in mind when you do that, or when I created my improvised version. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that's kind of explaining some of my process. I know talking through all those chord changes in the verses is a lot, and then just trying to see my hands and understand what I'm doing. Maybe I think it might be helpful too to throw a Synthesia version, a little MIDI version of this for people too. I'll try to create one of those. Yeah, just so you can get some ideas. Big thank you to all my patrons on Patreon. I'm very thankful for everyone's support. Big thank you to Neil for suggesting this video and for his support. As always, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.